Angela Merkel is a frequent visitor to China and until recently was a welcome guest. But relations between the two nations have become less sunny in recent years. German-Chinese relations have become more complex in all areas, as well as more challenging, both in the economic sphere and politically. And there are certainly problems with international relations. In the last few years, the Chinese government has increasingly sought to stifle political dissent. Its targets include Gao Yu, a dissident and journalist who works for Deutsche Welle. She is not allowed to leave the country. The human rights situation in China, we've observed an increasing deterioration over the last 2 or 3 years. We've been seeing a systematic surveillance and repression of all groups, whether journalists, bloggers, lawyers, but also scientists who tried to position themselves autonomously or to organize. Germany's government has sought dialogue with Beijing. There are even annual meetings between the two governments to discuss justice and the rule of law. But for China, there is no compromise on some issues. In the fundamental questions to do with China's political system, the leadership role of the Communist Party, or China's territorial sovereignty, there is absolutely no room for discussion. Germany is China's biggest European trading partner and a leading supplier of cutting-edge technology. More and more Chinese firms are working closely with German businesses, but for some, that's worrying. The technology flows to China thanks to Chinese investments and shares in German firms. So China is only making these investments in order to close a technology gap that it has in its own country. The German Chancellor and a large part of her cabinet will be in China in mid-June for the next round of German-Chinese government consultations. And there will be plenty to talk about.